Yeah, just tell us maybe a little bit about yourself and your background, how you got into dancing, and anything to do with Pantsula specifically, and how you got into Pantsula.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm Sibusiso, straight from the dusty streets of Orange Farm in South Africa, Johannesburg.
Yep.
So, to answer that question, I always go to, I think I was born for this. I was made for this. Then I started dancing since I was in my mother's womb. Why am I saying that? Because I think I was sharing with my sister there that I've never worked anywhere, as in a 9 to 5. I started dancing when I was like young. To give it shape, I started year 2000, so it's been 25 years doing this. And to teach, started 2011. So yeah, it has taken me places, and here I am today. So yeah, I would say, I mean, as they say, dance is it's my life, and I feel like there's more into it, more than just I think for me, there's more into it. And it's kind of like revealing itself more and more. But yeah.
And did you do Pantsula specifically, or did you do other dance forms?
Yes, so Pantsula, it's a culture. It's not just moves. Ooh, ooh, ah, ah. No, it's a culture. It's a culture that has 6 departments. So department number 1, they kind of touched it a little bit. So it's the traditional dances that we have in different tribes in South Africa. Then number 2, but they're not in order. I'm just going to say 1 and 2 and 3. Number 2, it's dance. Within dance, you find 2 things. You find isi pantsula, it's the footwork part of things. And then you find iskanda. So when I say isi, it's just a prefix. Because of we have different languages, it depends on what language you speak. So I'm Zulu, I will say isi. But if there's someone who was Sotho, they will say sepantsula, according to the way they, according to their own language. Yeah. So department number 3, it's the dress code. It's the way people dress. Yeah. Number 4, it's the language. So in South Africa, we have different tribes coming into one place automatically, which is the townships. Automatically, I will learn a little bit of Zulu, and then he will learn a little bit of Sotho. That itself creates a new language. But if I were to go into a little bit of details with language, of course, South Africa was colonized. Yeah. So there were people who are working hand in hand with the white people, as in like snitches. So if black people were planning something, then they will go and tell. So every time the plan was kind of destroyed, then black people were kind of like, okay, so we do have people who are telling. Then they created some sort of a unique language that they will use. Even other blacks, they would not know. So hence, that is why even now in the world, I mean, it doesn't spring from South Africa, but we have it everywhere. Maybe you have it here, what you can call slang. Yeah. So and then that's language, and then we have music, and then we have what we call lifestyle. Why? People used to live in the rural areas. Yeah. When they came, when Johannesburg was built, when they came from the rural areas to the city, they were pushed away because it was during the times of apartheid. And then that's how the townships were formed. Yeah. So in the townships, living with different tribes, then the question is, what culture are we following? Because in the rural areas, they live under kings and queens. So when they come to the township, then it's like, So I thank God because of they came together and said, together we stand, divided we fall. Automatically, we were oppressed. People are oppressed. So there's no need for fighting against themselves. Then that's how the Pantsula culture was born. So my point is, I was born into it. So growing up, it's there. So example, I always make an example with this. In South Africa, we use hand gestures to communicate with bus drivers and taxi drivers. So in the movie, they showed the tower, but I'm definitely sure many people don't know why exact that tower. So when you're in the township going to town, you do this. So this represents a certain tower that looked like this. If you noticed it.
There were two towers, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's a one that is like this. It's in the
Yeah.
central of Johannesburg. So when you dance, when you do this, then you mean that tower because it's in the central. So everyone knows when they do this, we're going to town. So these are the examples that I'm saying I grew up with. I grew up in it. I was born in it. You know, so yeah. But me, I grew up in it, but I'm also versatile because I've unfolded myself to learn hip hop, house, and other styles. But mainly, my thing it's Pantsula dance.
Yeah. And have you seen this film before?
Hear me move?
Yeah.
Yes.
You have?
Uh-huh.
Okay, okay. And I'm just curious to know, you talk about culture, and it is a culture as such, and how is it? How has it evolved over the years? Maybe, you know, they're talking about the dance itself or the culture starting around the 1950s or so on. Have you seen the changes over the last maybe few years of you
I mean,
dancing?
the changes will always be there because everyone that is born with a ability to be creative, and then if you can find something that is set, as in like the culture is this, but when you bring yourself into it, then it becomes a different thing, but still not being away from what it is. Example, so back in the days, people were not doing flips. Yeah, but then as it evolved, then people are incorporating with the ability that they have, which is like, if I know how to flip, then I can do all of these things and then flip. So it has evolved. But again, what I want to, okay, maybe we're coming to that.
Okay.
I'll yeah.
Later. We don't have very long, so I don't know if anyone has got a burning question or anything to ask at all.
Okay, so I don't have a question, but I just want to share something. You were talking about how in South Africa, like, you use hand gestures to signal the buses. We have the same thing in Sudan. So, like, if you're going to, like, the central market, you go like this. If you're going over the specific bridge, you go like that. So, like, everybody knows what the gesture means. So it's really interesting that you guys incorporate that into the dance. That's not something that we have.
That's what I'm saying, like, because they kind of touched it that we tell stories, blah, 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 whatever it is. So I feel like if you are if you are born in the culture, and then there's certain things that you do that you are kind of not aware that, oh, this is that. For you, it just comes as like, oh, we're doing a move. But it's because of you. So there's this thing, whatever that you expose yourself in, then you'll find yourself doing it. So it's the very same thing there's a particular movement we call isparapara. So it comes from the sound of the train, the old trains, when it sounded like this, when it's in motion, yeah? So the people became creative with, English, come on. People, they became creative, but being influenced by that motion of the train, that they have always using the train, and then they become creative with it, and then they put it in their dancing. If that makes sense. Yeah.
The sound of that.
Yeah, the sound of the train. Yeah.
So it sounds like everything has a purpose. Yeah, like the movement, I'm guessing drums, the music, the gestures.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying this yesterday, that we have come to a point of whereby we neglect where things come from, and we make a mistake of like, yeah, this is the modern whatever it is that is modern, but it comes from somewhere. So nothing just drops. So everything springs from somewhere. So if you're doing amapiano today, yeah, but the mother of all modern dance in South Africa is Pantsula. I'm not being biased because I teach Pantsula, but it comes from, even when you watch the movie, when you analyze the movie, of which I don't think they've done a good job. I'm sorry. But if you analyze the movie, you will see that the name of the father that passed on, the name is Lefty. His name is Lefty. You see that when you kind of like put the movie together, it points to where it comes from, which is Pantsula dance. So Lefty was doing, even today, he's still, doing Pantsula dance. But then his child kind of wanna trace what was happening then. So it's a very same thing even now. Yeah, if I make sense.
One more thing, sorry.
Yes, sir.
So you said they didn't do a good job. So were the people in the film, how we would say here, like commercialized dancers to do the job, or do you know what I mean?
So even with the last, I'm sorry. Me, Nah. So even with the last 5 minutes clip, see, it was Rowan Smith. See, automatically it's not a black person. So this is a problem when we don't have resources to tell our stories. Someone will come and then they will direct things in their own way on what it sells or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I'm not underestimating or undermining the people that we're talking there, the guys. But if whoever Rowan Smith was doing a good job, he will go and search for those who are really in it and know what they are talking about. Yeah, because when they talk there, I'm like, okay. But see, yesterday there was a girl teaching, and then she did a movement. Then I know for a fact that comes from Pantsula. Yeah, but she didn't explain. Where does it come from? And then she's a teacher now. So whoever is following her will learn that movement as it is and call it this. Yeah. Whereas that's where things get wrong. See? So the very same thing. Whatever that you have learned here, they didn't talk about these 6 departments. They didn't go in depth. Why did it come about dress code? So if I were to do a lecture of like an hour, I would explain everything. Like, okay, when we talk about why people dressed like that, it's because they were oppressed. So if you strip a person off, you took the identity, you took da. So what is left can be that whenever they get some little bit of money, they will dress themselves a bit of like expensive stuff to still feel as humans or still feel important or whatever it is. And that gave birth to even how people, when they dance, it's like, if you see with this kanda, people are doing all of this, they are touching themselves, but it's just to showcase what I have. But it's because of it springs from their identity being stripped off, if I make sense.
It's not a question. So I've been to Plamadi's classes for a while, and one thing that she does very well is that whenever we learn a new type of dance, she explains the history of the dance to us. So we did we did Kupitaka, we did Ndombolo, she always explains to us where do these dances come from, who is the person that originated it, and it's so important because it grounds the dance into something that is real and material and not just a trendy dance on TikTok. So I think what you're saying, we all really respect it because we come into these classes with this mindset that we have to understand the history and appreciate it, and so that we can do it justice.
Most def. Because maybe let's say in May, I was in Kazakhstan, and then there's a girl from Russia that came to Orange Farm where I live. Then I taught her. And then she went back, started teaching. And then, so now we use gestures, remember? So when I go to Kazakhstan, and then the students were excited because they know that she learned from me. And then they were it's like, okay, guys, so now we start like this, da, da, da. They were like showing off. Then I was like, yeah, it's good. But they have added something that doesn't communicate what it is. So they were doing this. Yes, this is okay. It communicates something else, but mixing this and this, then the question would be, me as I'm from the culture or from South Africa, I know what it communicates. But I just wonder, do you guys know? That was my question. And this is the problem, that if one just takes, and dilute whatever it is, then it gets lost. If that makes sense. That way.
I think just important to highlight, I guess this is what Plamidi, and we're doing this collaboration in a sense of providing the space for people to know more about the dance, about the culture behind whatever the dance is, whether it's Pantsula, Ndombolo, or anything else. And I think it does create an opportunity for people to learn more about not just the dance, but the culture, the history behind it as well. So I think there are no more questions.
Why do you think they didn't do a good job in the movie? Because they didn't represent well the steps, or?
Yeah, there was a lot of things that are kind of like, because if we wanna, I cannot, according to my observation and the way I've been in the space of dancing and tried and analyzed everything, they wanted to do a movie, but they didn't. They were not. And again, this is the thing. I'm not underestimating the people who are acting. Of which the main person there, not Prince, the main, he's not a dancer. I think maybe you have, I don't know if he's not a dancer, but the Prince is a dancer. Rest in peace, he's already gone. If you didn't know, so that's what I'm saying. If you had people that will truly represent what it's required, then it's like, yeah. So now maybe for you guys, it's like, okay, in South Africa, it has more than this. More than maybe it's a good actor, but in terms of dance, like, You see, so those are the kind of small things, and the link up of the story. If they talk about Ispuchwa, and then I didn't see any of Ispuchwa. So it can be 1 or 3, 2, 4 movements that is like, oh, Ispuchwa. But see, if now I come here and I teach one class, and then you go with it and then started teaching, you'll only teach what it's on the surface. Yeah. Yes? And then the next thing you'll be required to do some sort of a production that, but you teach Pantsula. Then you'll put your own ideas, and anything that is shown on YouTube or on Instagram or whatever, TikTok, then you'll be only fusing. Then it becomes something else. Us back at home, we're like, this is Pantsula. No, it's not. Yes? So this is a thing. Like, again, even with people who are, let's say, from the culture, and because there's poverty, if one comes and say, okay, we want to tell a Pantsula story. But guys, okay, so we also like this, then people will keep quiet because at the end of the day, they just want to get bread. You know? So that's what I'm saying. For me, I'm super passionate, and I will try my level best to get equipment, whatever it is, that if I had to tell a story, let it be authentic and show that what it is, as real as it is. Not because of now I'll have to put my tail under my bum because it's like, because I have to get bread, then I don't have to voice out. If I voice out, they said, no, it doesn't look good in the camera. But this is what it is. People have to see the real thing. Yeah? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Don't apologize at all. Amazing. Last question for me.
Yes, sir.
You touched a lot in there, and I feel like there is some sort of documentary to go into detail. And I'm not saying for you to do it, but certainly I think that there is a need for that in-depth understanding of Pantsula. We try to look for anything online that kind of can educate people before the workshop itself, and that's what we found. And there's a few very short documentaries, but I think they don't go into the details, like you're saying, the dance, the different cultures, so to speak, that comes with Pantsula. So anyway, there's possibly a need for that. But one question I had was to do with the dance scene in South Africa at the moment. Are you able to shed some light for people who don't know so much about South Africa and what's going on creatively, especially within the dance scene in South Africa?
Now, I think it's doing well to a certain degree because of Amapiano music. When it blew the world, and then many people started even like dancing Amapiano, and then started going around teaching TikTok, whatever it is. But then the question became, the pressure became when they were asked something like, what's the basic? Ba, 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 ba. Then they get to see that, oh, actually, I'm just only doing what was already there. It's just kind of a fusion. And then now that has helped the whole world to to open doors into looking into, let's say, Ispujwa, Pantsula, and other styles. So I think it's really growing, and there's so many people flying in. As example, with me, I'm doing a camp now in November from the 24th to the 30th, strictly focusing on Pantsula, but of course, I'll incorporate with other teachers that will come through and teach what is local. So it has opened doors that we are able now to be bold enough and say, let's do a camp and see what happens. So people are flying from different countries to come and learn, and not only from me, but to other people. So it's really growing. It's not like it's really growing, it's really taking a shape of like being super strong. Again, because of Africa as a whole is so rich in culture and dance and everything, but our leaders are failing us. That is why we want greener pastures somewhere. But yet, we have a lot of things. People want to learn from us, but we don't have capital to start things. We don't have this and that because the government is failing us. But yeah, if I answered you.
No, wishing you all the best. You did
Peace,
answer my
peace,
question.
peace. Yes, ma'am.
So what advice would you give to the people who are so used to seeing the vibing and the fun aspects of Afro dance and Amapiano, to the point that when they attend the class where you really have to approach, it from approach it in a way that focuses on the roots and the foundations and the history to kind of ensure that everything you're learning is authentic and that you're not just diluting everything that you're sort of receiving? Like, what advice would you give when it comes to those situations, to the students as well as the teachers?
Yeah, okay. I was.
I know that was a bit of a mouthful.
No, it's okay. I was about
it's
to
not
say.
just you that talks too much. Don't worry.
I was about to say I'm gonna attack this in two parts. So first part would be to those who like looking for choreos and the fun part of things and blah blah blah. I think that's not the way to learn. It's really not the way to learn, because so if you detach, or if my English is Englishing, if you detach life principles with what you're doing, then you have missed it. Because you look at life. Life is, you were young, or you were in your mother's womb, and then you came out. When you came out, you didn't run, you crawled. And then that's how it goes. Yeah? So same applies in whatever that you want to learn. It's super important to know where does it come from. As much as I made an example of doing this. Now you know today when you're doing this in Pantsula, then you know that this represent going to town. Because back at home, that's how we communicate. Yes? So it's super important to grow up with a style or a culture. But because of the hype of social media or whatever it is that is happening, then people kind of give into that, of which we as humans has lost our real self. Because now, even in the class, in your mind, it's always about like, let's film, let's do a choreo. No, because of you wanna post. It's no longer genuinely training for your own development. So this is a problem now. When it comes to the teacher side, the thing is, we look at the intention. What is your intention for you to even want to be a teacher? That will start there. Because if you're also chasing hype, then you'll always give in to whatever it is. They say, Spoo, come to Wales and just do choreo. Me, and then we won't work. Because if I come now and do a choreo, do you know even how to listen to the music, to place the groove in the music of, like maybe let's say, any music, but taking the groove and placing it to the music? No. You don't know. So if I come and only thinking of cashing in and then do the choreo, I am responsible or accountable to be misleading people. Yes? Because you will learn that and you think that you're already doing what you know, Pantsula, but yet you don't know. Yeah? So it comes together. It all goes back to an intention. Why are you doing this? Even here, as a student, why are you learning? Why are you interested to learn Afro styles? If I will put a question to you guys, you don't have to answer. It's your own homework. Why are you interested to learn, to go with this, like to be in these spaces? Because if your intentions are straight, it will guide you on how to approach it, on how to even respect it, on how to go in these histories and see your place as a guest in these cultures. But that doesn't mean that we cannot share. We can share, but there has to be, if I would say, boundaries and respect a certain things that are there. If I make sense. Yeah? Yeah.
The deep words of wisdom, should I say. Those ones you just released, honestly, really, really touch, really. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy the session later.
Away.
Yeah, thank you.